Today we are going to start with another chapter, neural control and coordination. Let's start. As you know, the functions of organ system in our body must be coordinated to maintain homeostasis. Coordination is the process through which two or more organs interact and complement the functions of one another. For example, when we do physical exercises, the energy demand is increased for maintaining an increased muscular activity. The supply of oxygen is also increased. The increased supply of oxygen necessitated an increase in the rate of respiration, heartbeat, and increased flow via blood vessels. When physical exercises stopped, the activities of nerves, lungs, hearts, and kidney gradually return to their normal condition. Thus, the functions of muscles, lungs, heart, blood vessels, kidney, and other organs, they are coordinated while performing physical exercises. They are coordinated. Wait, मैं ना कलर चेंज कर लेती हूँ, अच्छा सा नहीं लग रहा. Let us take this one. Okay, in our body, the neural system and the endocrine system, they jointly coordinate. What? Neural system, endocrine system, they jointly coordinate and integrate all the activities of the organ so that they function in a synchronized fashion. The neural system provides an organized network of point-to-point connections for a quick coordination. Point-to-point connections. The endocrine system provides chemical integration through hormones. In this chapter, you will learn about the neural system of humans, mechanisms of neural coordination like transmission of nerve impulse conduction across a synapse. Moving ahead, the neural system of all animals is composed of highly specialized cells called neurons, which can detect, receive, and transmit different kinds of stimuli. The neural organization is very simple in lower invertebrates. For example, in hydra, it is composed of network of neurons. The neural system is better organized in insect, where a brain is present along with a number of ganglion neural tissues. The vertebrates have more developed neural system. Human neural system is divided into two parts, central and peripheral. The central nervous system or central neural system includes brain and spinal cord and is the site of information processing and control. CNS includes brain and spinal cord. The PNS comprises of all the nerves of the body associated with the CNS. The nerve fibers of a PNS are of two types. Peripheral nervous system, two types, afferent fibers. The afferent nerve fiber transmit impulses from tissues to CNS, and efferent transmit regulatory impulses from CNS to concerned peripheral tissues. E for efferent, E for exit the CNS to concerned peripheral tissues or organs. PNS is divided into two divisions, a somatic neural system and autonomic neural system. CNS is divided into two, brain, spinal cord. PNS is divided into two, autonomic neural system and somatic neural system. Again, let us start again. Wait. Autonomic neural system. The somatic neural system relays impulses from CNS to skeletal muscle, while autonomic neural system transmits impulses from CNS to involuntary and smooth muscles of the body, visceral organs. The autonomic neural system is further classified into sympathetic neural system, parasympathetic neural system, and which are helpful in emergency situations. Like visceral nervous system is a part of peripheral nervous system that comprises whole complex of nerve fibers, ganglia and plexus, by which impulses travel from CNS to viscera and from viscera to central nervous system. Neuron as the structural and functional unit of neural system. Now moving ahead. A neuron is a microscopic structure composed of three major parts, namely cell body, dendrites, and axons. The cell body contains cytoplasm with typical cell organelles and certain granule bodies called Nissel's granules, short fibers which branch repeatedly and project out of the cell body. Also contain Nissel's granules and are called dendrites. These fibers transmit impulses towards the cell body. The axon is a long fiber, the distal end of which is branched. Each branch terminates as a bulb-like structure, synaptic knob, which possesses synaptic vesicles containing chemicals called neurotransmitters. The axon transmits nerve impulses away from the cell body to a synapse or to a neuromuscular junction. Based on the number of axon and dendrite, the neurons are divided into three types. Multipolar, one axon, two or more dendrites. And multipolar is this, one axon, two or more dendrites found in cerebral cortex. Bipolar with one axon, one dendrite found in retina of eye, olfactory lobes. And unipolar is cell with one axon only found in embryonic stages. There are two types of axon, namely myelinated, non-myelinated. Myelinated nerve fibers are enveloped with such one cells which form a myelin sheath around the axon. The gap between two adjacent myelin sheaths are called nodes of Ranvier. Nodes of Ranvier. This space is a node of Ranvier. And again the next thing is myelinated and non-myelinated हो गया. और आगे चलते हैं. The gap between two is node of Ranvier. Yes, myelinated nerve fibers are found in spinal and cranial nerves. Unmyelinated is enclosed by such one cell that does not form a myelin sheath around the axon, is commonly found in autonomous and somatic neural system. Yes, unmyelinated is present in autonomic and somatic neural system. Myelinated is present in spinal, cranial nerves. Generation and conduction of a nerve impulse. Neuron are excitable cells because the membrane are in a polarized state. Do you know why the membrane of a neuron is polarized? Different types of ion channels are present on the neural membrane. These ion channels are selectively permeable to different ions. When a neuron is not conducting any impulse that is arresting, the axonal membrane is comparatively more permeable to potassium and nearly impermeable to sodium. Similarly, the membrane is impermeable to negatively charged proteins present in the exoplasm. Consequently, the exoplasm inside the axon contain high concentration of K positive and negatively charged proteins and low concentration of Na positive. Yes, in contrast, the fluid outside the axon contains a low concentration of K positive, a high concentration of sodium, and thus forms a concentration gradient. These ionic gradients across the resting membrane are maintained by the active transport of ions by the sodium-potassium pump, which transports 3 Na outwards for 2 K positive inside the cell. As a result, the outer surface of the axonal membrane possess a positive charge while the inner surface possess a negative charge. Therefore, is polarized electrical potential difference across the resting plasma membrane is known as a resting potential. You might be curious to know about the mechanisms of generation of a nerve impulse and its conduction along an axon when a stimulus is applied to a site. Point A. This is a point A. Yes, when stimulus is applied at this on the polarized membrane, the membrane of site A becomes freely permeable to Na positive. This leads to rapid influx of Na positive followed by reversal of polarity at that side. The outer surface becomes a negatively charged and inner surface becomes positively charged. The polarity of membrane at site A is thus reversed and depolarized. The electric potential difference across the membrane at the site A is called action potential, which is in fact termed as a nerve impulse. At sites immediately ahead, the axon membrane has a positively charge on outer surface or negative charge on inner. As a result, current flows from inner surface. Inner surface current flows from site A to site B. From inner site A to B. Yes, A to B, positive to negative. And from outer side, it flows from B to A. This is a nerve impulse. And on the outer surface, current flows from B to A to complete this current flow. Hence, the polarity at site is reversed and an action potential is generated at site B. Thus, the impulse action potential generated at site A arrives at site B. The sequence is repeated along the length of the axon. Consequently, the impulse is conducted. The rise in stimulus induced permeability to Na positive is extremely short-lived. It is quickly followed by a rise in permeability of K positive within a fraction of a second. K positive diffuse outside the membrane. It restores the resting potential of the membrane at the site of excitation, and the fibers become once more responsive to further stimulations. Now, transmission of impulses. Nerve impulses transmitted from one neuron to another through junctions called synapses. Synapses formed by membranes of presynaptic neuron, postsynaptic neuron, which may or may not be separated by a gap called synaptic cleft. There are two types of synapses, namely electrical and chemical. At electrical synapse, the membranes of pre and postsynaptic neurons are in a very close proximity. Electric current can flow directly from one neuron to other through across these synapses. Transmission of an impulse across the electric synapses is very similar to impulse conduction along a single axon. Very similar to transmission of impulse along a single axon. Impulse transmission across electrical synapse is always faster than across a chemical. Electrical synapses are rare in our system. At chemical synapse, the membranes of pre and postsynaptic neurons are separated by a fluid-filled space called synaptic cleft. Do you know how the presynaptic neuron transmits an impulse across the synaptic cleft to post? Chemicals called neurotransmitters are involved in the transmission of impulses at these synapses. The axon terminals contain vesicles filled with these neurotransmitters. When an impulse arrives at the axon terminal, it stimulates the movement of the synaptic vesicles towards the membrane where they fuse with the plasma. Look, this is axon terminal. Yes, this is a synaptic vesicle. This is synaptic vesicle, presynaptic membrane, postsynaptic membrane separated by synaptic cleft. They together constitute synapse. These are called receptors. Now moving ahead. Membrane and release the transmitter to release their neurotransmitter in the synaptic cleft. The released neurotransmitter bind to the specific receptors present on the postsynaptic membrane. This binding opens ion channels along the entry of ions, which can generate a new potential in the postsynaptic neuron. The new potential developed may be either excitatory or inhibitory. Now moving to central neural system. Brain is central information processing organs of our body and acts as a command and control system. It controls the voluntary movement, balance of body, functioning of vital involuntary organs, example lungs, heart, kidneys, thermoregulation, hunger and thirst, 24 hours rhythms of our body, activities of several endocrine glands and human behavior. It is also the site of processing of vision, hearing, speech, memory, intelligence, emotions and thoughts. Human brain is well protected by a skull. Inside the skull, the brain is covered by cranial meninges consisting of an outer layer dura mater, very thin middle layer arachnoid, and inner layer pia mater. The brain can be divided into three major parts: fore, mid and hindbrain. This is the diagram of brain. This is cerebrum, cerebral hemisphere, corpus callosum, which divides into two, the brain, and cerebral aqueduct. Yes, midbrain is here present. Yes, this is a thalamus, this is a hypothalamus, pons, cerebellum, medulla. This is spinal cord, which is attached to occipital bone. Yes, occipital condyle. We have a skull which is dicondylic. Okay. Forebrain consists of cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus. Cerebrum forms the major part of the human brain. A deep cleft divides the cerebrum longitudinally into two halves, which are termed as left and right cerebral hemispheres. Hemispheres are connected by a tract of nerve fibers called corpus callosum. The layer of cells which cover the cerebral hemisphere is cerebral cortex and is thrown into prominent folds. The cerebral cortex is referred to as greyish matter due to greyish appearance. The neuron cell bodies are concentrated here, giving the color. Cerebral cortex contains motor areas, sensory areas and large regions that are neither clearly sensory nor motor in function. These regions are called association areas and are responsible for complex functions like intersensory associations, memory and communication. Fibers of the tracts are covered with the myelin sheath, which constitute the inner part of cerebral hemisphere. They give an opaque white appearance to the layer and hence is called white matter. The cerebrum wraps around a structure called thalamus, which is a major coordinating center for sensory and motor signals. Another very important part of brain is hypothalamus, lies at the base of the thalamus. Hypothalamus contains a number of centers which control body temperature, urge for eating and drinking. It also contains several group of neurosecretory cells which secrete hormones called hypothalamic hormones, inner part of cerebral hemisphere, and a group of associated deep structures called amygdala, hippocampus, etc. They form a complex structure called limbic lobe or limbic system. Yes, along with the hypothalamus. It is involved in the regulation of sexual behavior, expression of emotional reaction, that is excitement, pleasure, rage, fear, and motivation. What? Limbic system. It with the hypothalamus perform these functions. Now midbrain. Midbrain is located between the thalamus or hypothalamus of the forebrain and pons of the midbrain. A canal called cerebral aqueduct passes through the midbrain. The dorsal portion of the midbrain consists of 4 round swellings called lobes called corpora quadrigemina. Hindbrain. Hindbrain comprises pons, cerebellum. Medulla, also known as medulla oblongata. Pons consist of fiber tracts that interconnect different regions of the brain. Cerebellum has a very convoluted surface in order to provide the additional space for many more neurons. The medulla of the brain is connected to spinal cord, and the medulla contains centers which control respiration, cardiovascular reflexes, and gastric secretion. The 3 major regions make up the brainstem. Midbrain. 3 main portions make up the brain stem. That is what? That is midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata. Brainstem forms a connection between the brain and the spinal cord. Brainstem, brain and spinal cord connection. Yes, this is all your chapter.